brings you in?
My children.
Which child in particular?
Landon.
Just to let you know, I'm going to be taking notes. That's about all I'm doing. I'm writing. So let you know.
Okay.
What does Landon have going on?
So we're having issues with him being defiant with teachers and them not, I guess, addressing it to him with any sort of punishment because he has an IEP, so they just call me to address it at home.
Okay.
Which then for is not doing anything for them in school.
So they call you about the issue?
Yes.
Okay. Do they address Landon at all?
I think they try, but I think he's learned that if he just ignores the whole issue, that it's going to be brought to parents, and then we talk to him about it, and there's never any resolution to the problem because we're having the same issues at home with his defiance. So, and it's not complete defiance. It's just he'll say no to an adult, and it's like, well, this is part of his behavioral problems, and unless you nip it in the butt right away when he says it to you, I can't tell you what to do. You have to do something right away. Like, after the fact isn't going to help you.
Okay.
So, we've told them that. And they just say, well, he can't be doing that. Well, you're right, he can't be doing that, but
What's his IEP for?
his IEP's for behavior.
Anything in particular that they say?
Anger. And so, technically it was for anger, and then it was for, that's originally what it was for, but now his IEP, it's really confusing because he has an IEP because he's behind in reading, but he's caught up to level grade, but it's because he can't write, he physically can't write, eligibly, so it takes him longer, and, but he's on all normal classes now, so he doesn't leave the classroom. Instead of having a regular study hall, he goes into a special class to get extra help with homework.
Gotcha.
That's the only special time he has.
Do you know how long that is for?
So it would be a scheduled hour, the 45-minute hour.
Okay. How long has he had the IEP for?
Since second grade.
And has it changed at all over the years?
Yeah, every year they update it, or halfway through the year. We at least have a meeting every year. Or if they need to, sometimes they just email me if they want to change it. Like, they wanted to change his text to speech, or speech to text, for his tests, or for his writing, which he refused to do. So.
Okay. So what do these calls look like when either teacher or administration calls you? Is it normally teacher or administration?
It's a teacher.
Teacher. Okay.
Yeah, it'll actually be a teacher calling me on a weekend, telling me that they had this issue, and they're very kind about it. Saying that he's a very bright student. They can tell he's reading outside of class, that he enjoys reading, but he's doing this behavior and they can't allow it. They don't know what to do. And we say, well, we're having the same issues here. But the only thing I can tell you is that you have to nip it in the butt right away. There has to be some sort of repercussions to his actions there at school. One thing that we've learned is we have to separate school from home, when to some extent, when it comes to punishment. And that was something that we learned from our therapist outside of school.
What kind of punishments have worked at home?
So taking away things usually does not work. It's being able to earn things. So positive reinforcement. Usually when you take away things, it makes things worse. It escalates.
Have they done that in school at all, taking away things that he likes in school?
They've taken away his lunch. His ability to eat lunch with his peers. But now that he's in middle school, they don't have a recess or anything to take away from him anymore.
Okay.
But in the past, they've taken away recesses.
How does Landon respond to that?
I think hiding, making excuses, hiding homework and things like that, so avoidance by any means. He's had fits in school before, in the past. This year it hasn't been bad, but I think it's because they haven't been able to really take anything away from him.
Okay. So have you noticed, has it helped at all when they take away?
It doesn't.
Doesn't?
No.
Not in school either?
No.
So he's had his IEP for now 5 years?
Yep.
5 years? When's his next meeting?
So we just had one in the beginning of this year, and then we email back and forth. So his next one, I don't think would technically be till, unless something changes this year, wouldn't be till next year. I believe is how it works. If there's no changes.
How productive do you find the IEP meetings? Have you gone to them at all?
I've been to all of them.
Okay. How productive do you find them?
I find them extremely annoying, and it's repetitive, and I hate them. Teachers are always rushed and unable to speak to you.
Yeah. Yeah, those meetings, they can be frustrating for the parents, especially when you're not seeing the results that you want, so definitely understand that. What ideally would you want to happen when you go to these meetings?
An actual meeting with the teachers, that you actually get to sit down and talk to the teachers about your child, not the logistics of the paperwork, because that's pretty much what they need. Is they have to record down what you say, what Landon's dad says and what everyone else says, and they have to repeat everything that's on that piece of paper, which is something I have to read and sign anyways, which takes up the majority of the time, and they only give you an hour slot. And so that hour slot, 75% of that is reading to me what I already have read before I got there.
Yeah.
I'm reading it after, and you're reading it to me again during. So I would generally take all that out and spend the time talking about how we can help my son get better.
How does staff respond to that? Have you physically said that to them?
I have not.
Okay.
I usually just go through the motions.
Have you ever thought about saying that to them in those meetings, or?
That's a pretty good idea.
Okay. So if you were to say something to them, what would that look like?
I guess I would like to tell them that I feel like we waste a lot of time, rereading what I've already read before I entered this room. And I'd like to spend the time talking about how we can help my son collectively as a team, because that's what we are. We are all here to help him.
Definitely.
Because they work with him. They're probably with him more than I am, really, in hours in a day through the week.
Definitely. Is there anything else that you would tell them?
I guess, when it comes personally with Landon, that I guess in a personal matter, that he needs the physical guidance, not just someone to be there, but he needs that physical guidance, even if it's just you placing your hand on him or something like that, that he's that kind of kid, that even though he doesn't seem like he would need that, but that sometimes just a hand on a shoulder to a child that seems angry will calm them, and it's extremely important, I think, for some teachers to understand that.
It's definitely a good idea. From anything that the teachers have said, have you seen them try that at all? Any small strategies like that?
In past, when he was over at Clarendon, when he was at the elementary school, they all did it, including the principal, and that's why I loved that school so much, because even the principal would call me when Landon's having a bad day. What do I do? Just give him a hug. Just go give him a hug. She said he's in a rage. I'm like, just give him a hug. Like, he's gonna push you away, but just give him a hug. And she would do it. And that's why they were amazing over there. And the middle school is just different, because they're so independent, and it's a lot harder. But Landon's not having the fits of rage there, so now it's just missing assignments, not doing homework, and because he has an IEP, it's being bypassed.
And now their kids are growing up.
Yep. That's why he has to become more independent.
And they want to give those kids independence, but from what you're seeing, do you do that at home? That physical touch? Does that work with him?
With Landon, yes.
Still works with him?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's really funny because he does it the same thing back when he sees me get frustrated because he recognizes that
Okay. So yeah, he's
physical
definitely
touch
picked that up.
is something that helps people. And so he has learned from personal experience that this is what helps people feel better.
So specifically in the middle school, what does it look like when he gets when he has an episode, or when he gets angry, or when he has denial,
So
or not denial, when he's saying no? Yeah.
when they're trying to help him and he doesn't want help. So when he's trying to write something and someone's standing over him and he says, I don't want help, I want to do this on my own, and they won't listen to him and they won't give him the freedom that he's wishing for and asking for, and they're pushing him for help. So he gets angry and they keep pushing, and so he says no bluntly to the teacher, even though the teacher's saying, you need help, you're behind. And that's kind of what it sounds like, is Landon's not seeing he needs help. Teachers are saying, no, you need help. And so there's this triangle of frustration.
Okay. So you had said that maybe expressing your feelings and what works and what doesn't work, and kind of your frustration with the whole IEP process and how they're handling Landon in the middle school. Do you think you could see yourself doing that? Talking to the teachers or talking to administration?
If I could get the time with them, yeah, but it's really hard to.
Okay.
And it's a busy school over there.
Definitely.
And the physical, or the teachers that he works with, they work with a lot of kids and they're overwhelmed. So it's very hard to get meetings with them.
Okay. Is there any way you can schedule a time with them?
I can try, but emails are usually the best
Yeah.
way to communicate because it's fast and easy.
Yes.
And it's very impersonal.
Yeah. Have you tried scheduling anything with them to talk about this?
I have not yet.
Okay.
The only thing was the IEP that we had.
All right. So maybe that could be goal number one.
Mm-hmm.
Just scheduling something to talk to them.
Yep.
Who would you talk to?
So it'd be Lisa Zick, so that would be the one that, she's the one that sends, because we've already gone over, I don't know what his homework is, because he's having so many missing assignments.
Mhm.
I need to know what his homework is, because obviously he's not doing a good job keeping track. So every
Definitely.
week, she sends me what his assignments and when they're due and for what class.
Okay.
So I know what's due, so I can check. And then, so she's the one that is, I think she is I don't know what actual teacher she would be, but she would be the one that is in charge of his IEP,
Gotcha.
the physical, or what would that be? So the one that he's in that hour class for, or with, one that helps him the most.
She a sped teacher?
Yeah,
Special education?
yep, special
Okay.
education teacher.
Alright. So maybe a meeting with her.
Yep.
And hope. Is there anyone else that you think you could talk to?
So besides her, I have, previously in the other one, I had him talk to the school psychologist, but the school psychologist over there, didn't seem to see an issue with Landon, in the way that we saw an issue with Landon, so we had to go outside the school, and there was very limited time to be able to see her.
Gotcha.
So we had a hard time. There wasn't a relationship with her to a point where I could communicate.
Okay. So it sounds like, from what I'm hearing, it's just hard to get in the door. Physically get meetings with them is
Yes.
tough. So I think that, if you're okay with that, making that first meeting would be big.
Yeah.
So in a perfect world, what would be done in that meeting? I know you kind of already said that you kind of express your frustrations, but is there anything else that you could think of that could be said in that meeting that can get Landon where he needs to be?
Yeah, if we can get goals for Landon, actual goals that, because they do these percentages, we want Landon to have 78% of his homework done. Well, what do you mean 78%? We want him 100% of his homework done.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not logical, but why are we putting him down where we're only expecting him to do, a quarter of his homework? I'm not expecting him to get A's. I only expect C's out of him. I don't expect much, but I expect him to do his homework. It's not that hard. There's certain things that are expected and there's certain things that aren't. Doing your homework is just one of them.
Yep.
And so that's one that's frustrating. but you just have no power. Sometimes you feel like you have no power over anything as a parent when it comes to school, and you don't really. But I would like to see actual goals when it comes to Landon. Where we can do the positive reinforcement where we work together, where they know what he'll get at home if he gets this
Gotcha.
done.
Yeah.
Which is something we did in the past at previous schools, and it worked. Where they knew that if he got this done and got it done on time, that he would get an extra 20 minutes, of video game time.
Yeah.
Or things like that. And that was something that where they were able to give him physical tokens that he could bring home and say, I got this at school today.
And that was beneficial.
And it was very beneficial. It worked.
So I think that's where we'll start. Is you have your goal, you want to meet with Lisa or possibly someone else, whoever you can get, but ideally probably Lisa, it sounds like, and then talk about those goals, your frustrations with the IEP process, and then definitely bring in the positive reinforcement and how well that worked with him in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's definitely a good place to start. Anything else for today?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.